Next time.
Taylor, you want me to
All right.
want me to get his attention?
He's good.
He's good.
We're going, we're rolling, right? Yeah, okay, he's good. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Romeo Planning Commission meeting for July sixth, 2023. Summer's zipping away. We'll begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, wherever the flag is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Cindy, we're gonna do roll call now?
Okay, Stegner,
Yep, here.
Webb,
Here.
Hall. Here. Justin Parker,
Present.
Bill Parker. Hale,
Here.
Fowler. Here. Grandstaff
Here.
and Minton.
Here.
Okay, we move on to approval of tonight's agenda. Does anyone have anything to add to the agenda? Would somebody like to make a motion to approve tonight's
I'll make
agenda?
that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of that motion to approve the agenda? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we move on to approval of the minutes, from our meeting of June 1st, 2023. Any amendments to those minutes? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from June 1, 2023. Second, Mr. Webb, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, passes, Cindy. Now we move on to the public forum. Anybody here would like to ask the planning commission any questions or make a comment about what's going on in the community? Anything you'd like to say? And no. Okay, so first we move on to old business. And Karen would like to tell us about flagpole draft language.
So based upon discussion at the last planning commission meeting, we were asked to look at some language for a possible flagpole ordinance. From time to time, people do come into the building department asking, are there any regulations for putting up a flagpole and on their property, usually their home, and as of now, there's nothing. So today, I'm bringing you some sample language. It's language that I think might fit your community. If you have any suggestions, if there are things that you do not like, please let me know. But this is language based off of what a lot of other communities have in Southeast Michigan, as well as some input from your building official. And I can go through it. Proposed draft language for flagpoles. All zoning districts allow for flags shall be subject to the regulations below. Item number 1, all new flagpoles shall require a building permit. Flags displaying information that meets the definition of a sign will require a sign permit and must meet the requirements of the sign ordinance. And your ordinance already defines what a sign is, but basically if they're flying a flag that is advertising something of some sort, not necessarily a national flag or an expressive flag, but a flag that's obviously for a sign for a business, they would need a sign permit. A plot plan showing the location of the flagpole shall be submitted. The drawing submitted to the building department for permitting shall be signed by a state of Michigan licensed engineer or architect showing location, height, and footing design. Item number 2, flagpoles must be located within property boundaries. The property owner shall determine the location of the property lines and verify that the flagpole being installed is within those property lines. Flagpoles cannot conflict with parking drives or pedestrian circulation areas. Flagpoles cannot conflict with corner clearance or be and obstruction of view for safety, see sections 346-3, or -43A and 46-193. Item number 3, the maximum height of flagpoles, including the foundation, cannot exceed the maximum listed below. In any case, the height of any flagpole shall not be greater than the distance to the nearest property line. And on the following page, there's a little chart showing districts, flagpole height maximum and flagpole size maximum. The flagpole size coordinates with the height, and that's basically based off some standards that you'll find all over from flag manufacturers and other communities. I think in general, it's like the flag I think height is basically roughly 1/3 of like the pole height, basically. I think that's how it's supposed to work. But I've lumped basically your residential districts in the CBD into one category with a flagpole height maximum of 12 feet, which the coordinating maximum flag size is 15 square feet. Your office district, you can get a little higher, 15 feet. Commercial district, 20 feet. Industrial district, 30. Industrial district is 30 feet. Those are the heights that I've chosen, I thought might be appropriate. If you'd like to change them, you certainly can, or if you suggest looking into other heights. But I'm kind of, at least for me, I'm kind of leaning more towards conservatively. The conservative flagpole heights may be slightly on the lower side considering how dense Romeo is compared to other communities. Item number 4, a maximum of 1 flagpole may be permitted in the residential and CBD districts with a maximum height of 12 feet. A maximum of 2 flagpoles may be permitted in office, commercial, and industrial districts. Item number 6, the maximum square footage of any number of flags per pole shall not exceed the recommended square footage listed above. Minor modifications to square footage requirements may be permitted by the building official if the appropriate structural analysis is provided. Item number 7, all flagpoles shall be maintained in good condition, free of significant corrosion, tears, fraying, peeling of paint or finish, and other damage or deterioration. Item number 8, banners, pennants, spinners, and streamers are not allowed. And last item, number 9, when illuminated, the lighting shall be directed away from roadways, traffic areas, and adjacent residential properties.
Any comments? Bill?
Yeah, I did some research, and I looked on 3 common big box store, home improvement store sites. And the smallest flag pole, freestanding, and since all flags that are attached to a pole are by definition flagpole, I think we have to insert the word freestanding.
Okay.
So that we're not trying to, what probably everybody in this room has, is regulate a flagpole. So I think we want to insert freestanding throughout that, or else put a definition in that starts out that we're talking, this is in reference to freestanding flagpoles.
Okay, right.
Versus those that are attached to a building. or a
Correct, yeah,
house.
you're right.
Anyhow, the smallest site that's, the smallest flag that's available commercially, or flagpole, in either Home Depot, Menards, or Lowe's that I could find, is 17 feet.
Okay.
Which is an installed 15 feet, because every one of these is ranked for being inserted in the ground 2 feet. With each one of them, there are manufacturer's instructions, and you'll even find it online, about how you should be, or what you should be putting this into. And I suspect that if you fail to follow the manufacturer's regulations, you're assuming your own liability. And the general rule that you'll find is that for every 10 feet in height, you have to have a cubic foot of concrete. And therefore, you know, a 15-foot pole will require a 2 by 2 by 2 cube of concrete, and a 30 would require a 3 by 3, which is a heck of a piece of concrete. But that's the standard is easily found online, and it's included with everything that I could find. The 17-footer, there's also a 21-footer, which gives you an installed 19. These are what are advertised for homes, and you can go 6 miles down the road and pick one up, I suppose. Personally, I don't think we have any business telling people they can't put up a 20-footer if it's as standardly available in a residential district. I mean, it's what manufacturers are making today, and the installation obligation should be from the person who's putting it up. And if they fail to put it up properly, then they're assuming all the liability for that. I find the requirement for a civil engineer certification on any of this somewhat onerous. We have a builder here tonight. I suspect he could tell us that if you're gonna call a civil engineer these days, you're gonna pony up somewhere between $500 and $1,000 to have somebody type up a letter for the installation information that was contained in the pole which you bought. It just seems to me ludicrous that we're gonna, and I did go to other communities and look at what the standard is common, but to me it's kind of ludicrous if the manufacturers will say, take a picture and send it to me. And I guess that's a footing inspection, isn't it, Cindy?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I guess that's not the most terrible thing in the whole world, in which we ask that people actually do what they're supposed to do. But those are my comments.
Anyone else?
I'll just say that I agree with Phil 100%.
Really? It's the
Yes, you
first time in all the years we've known each other.
Yes, I do.
God.
I would like to question item 5, the maximum of 2, especially when we get out into the industrial area. I think it's very common to see 3 flags.
Okay.
Normally this United States, the state of Michigan, maybe a business or the local community flag. I'd like to see that probably changed to 3.
Okay. For residential, do you think one's appropriate, or would you like to offer the option of 2?
I mean, residential, I don't know if I would see more than 1.
Okay.
I'd like to
The right
increase the
size.
square footage though, because that's a 3x5 flag.
But that's
That's
what's-
one flag and you're done.
Right, but that's what the manufacturers rate this stuff for.
Right.
Yeah, so the size and thickness of
And
pole.
you're really assuming liability in and on yourself.
Well, you could buy a bigger pole, but then you can't put
Then
you can't put another flag up there, right? You wanna put up a American flag and a POW flag, well, you can't, cause you bought the 3x5 flag.
But that's what's
Yeah.
included in everything available in the big box stores.
Right.
Is in fact rated like that. I agree with you, and I assume the manufacturers are doing this on a sheer safety purpose basis, like, okay, you people wanna put up more flags, that's your business.
Right.
I think if you
Personally,
would,
I'm opposed to regulating other people's rights of free speech.
Right.
And we can get into a situation where we're creating the Mark Clark Permanent Retirement Fund, where he's defending,
flag
what
ordinance.
we've done on other people's, well, you can tell Mark I said it.
He's
Other
gonna say
people's
it.
rights of free speech. I mean, you can go around this village right now and find things that you might find offensive, and I guess I would consider some of them flags, but I find lots of things offensive.
I guess my only concern is with, I think it's item number 3, if you're saying change the height of the flag, but item number 3 says it has to stay within its boundaries. Because my concern is if you have a narrow yard and I'm putting the flag up close to one side, if it snaps off and falls over and goes into my neighbor's yard,
Yeah.
because I didn't follow the guidelines, or maybe I did, and I guess that would be my only concern, is the liability of, if you allow 21 foot in a residential.
I mean, that's the maximum.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
the maximum it would still have to be.
if someone has a property, then it can accommodate having a 20-foot pole, as well as wherever it's placed, it doesn't cross over on the property line.
And that has to be part of the application then for the, like the building permit application, is that
Well,
what we're looking at, or?
If they were to apply for a building permit, they'd have to show where on their property, so in the drawing that they're submitting, there should be setbacks showing where it is, yeah.
Okay.
So I have a question about number 8. I'm kind of with Bill here on free speech. with the banners, pennants, spinners, streamers. Seems kind of restrictive. I mean, if I wanna put a Go Bulldogs pennant up, or,
You know, I'll look at that. I mean, the purpose of that language is something that's not possibly longer than a regular flag that could get tangled up on the
Uh-huh.
pole or in a tree. I think pennants, banners, spinners, and streamers, you're assuming it might be more thinner or different, but I can look and see if,
well, you might
That's
regulate the
necessary.
size, but, you
Yeah.
know.
I would quite, I believe banners, like permanently fixed on a pole or on a building, I think is already against the sign ordinance as is. I think the banner material wording is used in our sign ordinance as restricted.
As advertising, right?
Permanently fixed, I don't think advertising, political, I think it's spelled out pretty clear, using banner.
It wouldn't qualify
I mean,
under
just the
R
material.
one business, so
When
R1,
does,
right?
when does a banner become a flag? I mean,
Well-
we can go around this town right now and find
Banners
quote,
everywhere.
banners,
Everywhere.
and you could call that a flag, and be covered under political free speech. Or-
Banner, if it's made of banner material and it's not a flag, if it's one-sided,
What's banner material?
typical banner material. What is- what it-
I
what it
actually
is.
ran across an
It's
article
like
like
a-
that.
Maybe nylon?
Yeah, it's more like a vinyl-y, yeah, finish on it.
Nylon, cotton, there's all types of definitions of what constitutes a flag and what's the appropriate material. The manufacturers are merely stating what they have tested their product for, period. And if you go beyond that, that's, you know, don't call us about something falling over. We have no regulations, as far as I know, about people planting trees next to their property line. And having personally taken down a number of my neighbors' trees because they were dead and going to fall on my property. I'm kind of, yes, so it might fall on your property. I just am taken with it's not necessary. You can go right down here on Minot, and there's a flagpole, it's gotta be a good 20-footer. And it's no more than 4 feet from the property line. If it's that, it might actually be on the property line. And how we would go about inspecting or permanently inspecting these things, this was the big discussion, which I don't know has ever been solved with the DDA and the poles on South Main.
The banner poles?
Yeah, I mean, there was a huge discussion about these things have been there forever, how do we get them inspected? And are they safe? And when I left the DDA, that had not been solved, and Cindy may know more about it.
Well, I know that for years, we always permitted those banners across the road.
We were talking about the pole itself has been there so long, and I wouldn't say that's in great shape. I mean, if you want to, you could, but the debate about was who actually owns this thing and whose responsibility is it, and where are we gonna find somebody to inspect it? And as far as I know, that discussion was never resolved.
I've never heard of the discussion.
Oh, I was there, I participated, and I'm not quiet too frequently. You were there,
I was there,
and did it ever get solved?
not that I'm aware of.
First I've ever heard of it.
No, we had numerous.
I know, but I wasn't at the meeting, so
Okay, no,
I,
no, it's just, it went on for months.
I believe
And
it
then
fell
just
onto
kinda went away.
council, and if I remember correctly, I think DPW had someone come out and
To look.
inspect the pole,
Okay, I didn't know
I
that.
believe. I can double check on that.
It's certainly not being painted or.
So I guess
anything.
your relationship to this is that how do we verify the long-term, or how do we enforce the
Yeah.
maintenance in good condition?
and also how do we enforce the ones that are there already? Are they just grandfathered in, or how do we do
Maybe for
that?
installation
I'd say
and height,
they're
but-
probably grandfathered until there's showing signs of, disrepair
Falling down?
or,
Yeah.
something like that, and then
Thanks.
that would be a code enforcement issue that would have to be addressed.
I walk every morning, and if you walk around this town and you look at the flagpoles, a lot of rusty things out there. There are a lot of things that are just, I mean,
Sure.
is someone maintaining it? No. Is someone gonna take it down? No. Are you gonna tell them to take it down? Nope.
Yeah. I guess with the size of flags, adding in something about the maximum manufacturer recommended within that guidelines, because a 50-footer on a 30-foot pole might not fly with some 30-foot poles. And if someone puts up a 50-footer and then it does like it did in town here at the Four Corners and turns into a sail and rips the pole down on the 32-mile road again, I think we might need to,
That's a big credit.
And the Bill's point, we should define what a flagpole is.
yeah.
'Cause
I just, in the residential, if nobody's making anything as short as 12 feet, then I really don't think we should even be saying 12 feet. If the commonly available big box ones are in fact 20 feet, then that seems to me a reasonable standards if we're gonna actually get into that. As for, I remain absolutely opposed to requiring a civil engineer on this if this stuff comes with instructions on how to do it. Now, I think it's reasonable to say, well, there's always some idiot out here who isn't gonna do it properly, and there's a lot of idiots out there. So, just having the building permit along with the I guess it would be a footing inspection, because it's,
Yep.
the 3x3 is a big piece of concrete. I mean, I wouldn't wanna mix that. It'd kill me.
Shouldn't we also define, it has to be manufactured for flags? Because I could take a light pole,
Yeah.
you know, being a contractor, I can put a light pole up on a sonotube that'll hold every one of these flags plus 10.
Put your own pulley on
I
it.
can put my own pole up, I get them all day, I throw them in the garbage half the time. But someone can make it, anyone can make it.
Then you would require,
So we,
if there's not a manufacturer's, okay, let's think now, if there's not a manufacturer's certification with it, then it would be right to call out the need for a CE or architect or somebody of appropriate skills to certify it. I agree with what you're
you
saying.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, if you go that far, like I can give you all the requirements that you're gonna ask for, I can give you of a light pole. Cause it's gonna be wind shear, loading, vertical loading, and all that. I could give you all that. So again, I could give you all that information without it being technically a flagpole.
I wouldn't want that information. They've got enough crap.
But I could give
Yes.
the village that, you know.
Yeah, it's,
They won't be coming in for.
I just.
That's why I would define a flagpole as something manufactured
For flags.
for flags. And it would be simple enough as then that eliminates people putting up their own designs, loading up their own steel, making their own flagpoles and having to get anything certified, cause this is manufactured for a flag, and that's it.
Are we in agreement that it's ridiculous to require them to get this CE?
Well, that would get rid of the CE,
Okay, so
because
if-
it would be,
if they're-
it has to be a manufactured pole for the flag,
It's gonna come,
it's not gonna be something I made.
I'm not sure how you're gonna word it, but if something's coming with the instructions and all this information.
Yeah,
I
per
don't-
manufacturer recommendations.
Yes,
Yeah.
Product specifications and a site plan
yeah.
that proves this thing isn't gonna fall on a road or a sidewalk.
All right, let's make a list for Karen so that.
I think she's jotting it
Yeah.
down.
I
You're
think I
writing it
got
down.
it, yeah.
We're gonna keep her busy.
Just don't want it to fall on
All
a
right,
road or a
If
sidewalk.
I could just, one thing I'd like to add, number 9, talking about the illumination.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if, I'd like to see added in there, if the American flag's flown at night, it must be illuminated.
Well, it's US flag code, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Then it's free speech not to like.
I think it's pretty standard.
I get it.
So we're gonna eliminate the banners, pennants, spinners, and streamers?
I have that crossed out.
Okay, thank you.
And so for flagpole height in residential and CBD, did you want it to be 15 or 20 feet? What do you think would make the most sense?
I personally think 20, because that covers everything that you're gonna find at Lowe's, Menards, or Home Depot.
Okay.
The highest one they've got is a 21 footer, you put it 2 feet into the sleeve, that means that you've got a 20 feet, a 19-foot pole, so it would be exempt. After that, you're getting into a pretty industrial height flagpole. And we do need to put this freestanding
Right.
definition at the
Yes.
beginning of it.
So 30 for industrial, 20 everywhere else.
Yes,
Fine.
because we can go
As long
right
as you
down
can
there
meet
and
the
pick one
setback.
up and.
If you can meet the setback and it's not gonna fall outside of your property,
Okay.
So
Doesn't
then,
matter.
then residential could technically be 30, right? Because most lots are
well,
within
no, that's what I'm
60.
saying, you set, so, only industrial's 30 because they're gonna have a lot dimension to meet it anyway.
Otherwise, it's a.
Cause in the village, the commercial, there's no, I mean, I don't think there's any industrial districts left within the village itself, that's everything is outside of town, it's all large lot, Ray can probably speak to that. But I mean, inside the village, the lots can be, a commercial lot can be 50 feet wide, if you find the right one, 30, if you find the right one. So
I
it's
have,
just about,
I have an 18 and a half.
right, you just have to, I mean, you have to meet the setbacks, because it's about you not killing someone with a pole breaking in half and falling on the road. Safety, that's all I'm really concerned about.
Let me get mine up first.
Any more suggestions, comments? If not, let's move on to new business. Item number 1, site plan review, 250 Denby Street, 2804-02-136-018. Karen?
So the applicant submitted a site plan for review. The site plan is for a residential apartment unit located on the site. The applicant is proposing a 6-unit apartment complex on the site. The lot currently contains a senior living facility facing Bailey Street. And the vacant buildings being used for the proposal were previously used as part of the senior care facility. All the proposed units are within the existing large building or block building as labeled on the site plan. All other structures on site will continue to be used for the senior care facility at this time. Parking is proposed within the front yard setbacks. Section 46-613 requires 1-bedroom units to be provided with 1 parking space and 2-bedroom units to be provided with 2.5 parking spaces. The applicant has provided 15 parking spaces exceeding the minimum standards. The applicant is proposing 2-tiered 90-degree parking layout with a 20-foot drive aisle and parking spaces measuring 9.5 feet by 20 feet. This meets the standards of your parking ordinance. It also requires parking areas to maintain a 10-foot setback with neighboring residential properties. A 10-foot setback has been provided. The applicant has provided a landscaping plan displaying the planting of 5 new trees and maintaining 1 large tree on the north side of the building. A trash receptacle enclosure has been provided at the northwest corner of the parking lot. The applicant has stated it will be surrounded by a 3-sided masonry enclosure. This enclosure will measure 10 by 10 and will be constructed of 6-foot-high masonry wall. Sorry. Lighting plan has been provided. Lighting will be shielded downward, meeting the illumination levels, and according to the plan, will not, impede on neighboring properties in accordance with section 46-575. Therefore, I recommend approval of this site plan.
Comments?
I had a question. That's what I meant, thank you, I'm sorry. That's a question. The blueprints that, were submitted to us last month, so I went through and did look at like all the floor plans, and I only had one question on that. And it was just a minor thing, but just to satisfy my own, The one-bedroom unit, the 584 square feet in that kitchen area in there, I don't see, what else I'm missing? I was looking for like all the appliance, the way it's laid out. I guess what I'm looking for, I don't see on here, is where's the refrigerator at in here? Like, do we not have room for a, is it,
Yeah, so this, the actual layout inside the building
Yes.
is somewhat, somewhat preliminary.
okay,
So we still plan on kind of looking at that. It'll still be 6 units.
okay.
The square footages will pretty much remain the same, but we might be moving some of the millwork appliances around, so.
That was the only thing I looked at,
Okay.
but I know it's just, but then I know that Mike
No
has to approve all
refrigerator.
that for the building permit, and so I'm sure he's gonna look it over and see all that, but I just ran and I was like, oh, there's gonna be a refrigerator in this. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Karen, just real quick, I noticed that they don't meet the setbacks on the perimeter yards, 40 feet. Because it's existing, we don't need to consider,
The building is considered
it's non-conforming.
non-conforming structure.
Yep. Do the patios make it go any further into the setbacks than it already is, or are we?
I don't think the neighbor to the north's gonna mind.
No, I don't think they will either.
I'll speak for him.
We're actually making a non-conforming more conforming to the ordinance, correct?
Is all egress and gonna be from the east then? Have you already worked something out with the people from Bailey? Cause I know that you have flow through, I mean, you did, at one time there was an alley that went all the way through, but they've had it blocked for a number of years. Is everything gonna be from the east, from the existing, the new apartment building, or is it gonna be, you're gonna try to reestablish the flow through?
We were just gonna maintain the aisle from the new building, to the east.
Going to the east then? Okay. I just didn't know if it was gonna, cause I mean, when I was a kid growing up, it was always open straight through, but they put that dumpster right on the right of way.
They were afraid because people at one time, I guess, they told me that we're screaming through there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Kind of milling around and gets
Mhm.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know.
There's
Okay,
there's access from the west and from the east.
there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a pass-through. I just didn't know which way you're gonna go with it. Or if, I mean, yeah.
And we were hoping to use, some of that property, for these patios, for
Mhm.
these outdoor spaces for that.
Okay.
I have a question, but is the lighting on this building gonna be as bright as it is on the new building that's back there?
So, we actually did, take some photos if anybody's curious. It's pretty bright, the neighbor's,
Mhm.
lighting's pretty bright, and it lights up the parking deck,
Mhm.
on this property. So we were probably just gonna stick with that and just verify that it meets code, which, it appears it far exceeds that, so. There'll be some, outdoor lighting at the, individual units, outside the door, because these units, most of them are being accessed from the exterior. And then the exterior patio, there'll be a light on the building, but it'll be, that light will, exceed the boundaries of the property.
It'd be like a tack light on the side of the wall, which is aiming down, not necessarily out.
So I think your package probably shows, a lighting plan. Since submitting that package, we did notice that there's all this light that's coming from the neighbor's property, that light is probably not necessary.
It's a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
A lot.
It's a lot.
It's,
Is it, you mean from the new Denby
Yeah.
Mhm.
Street? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, from the club, it's bright as day over there.
yeah,
Really?
it's kinda like a, I don't know, maybe a runway or a.
Oh, boy.
You can see.
you
Can I-
See everything.
I heard something about a parking deck. I didn't hear,
Tiered.
I'm a little hard of hearing, I'll admit it. Don't tell my wife, okay? But I couldn't hear what you were saying.
If you guys could, when you, If you guys could use the, just then they can record it too for the playback.
So currently, your package shows some exterior lighting that's planned for the site, for that parking area. Because the neighbor's light is so bright, it's obviously not gonna be necessary. We can do some light readings, but it's pretty obvious that neighbor's light more than illuminates the parking lot that we're at.
What would be the plan then if they do decide, hey, this is way too bright, they change their lighting to something more of a down light, more restricted to their property? What would be the plan then to make sure that you have sufficient lighting in your
We have
parking?
to install some site lighting poles. So I think your package right now includes 2 light poles for lighting up the parking lot. So if we did lose that lighting, or that lighting was shielded, then we'd have to go to the plan that's shown in your package.
Can we approve a site plan based on utilizing an existing or a neighboring property's light for your lighting?
It's a
Or-
So this includes for not using there, like this is what we're gonna do for lighting, right? So
Well, before we realized, I hadn't been to the site when it was dark out. So when that package was submitted, typical site lighting package was put together, design. But I'm just gonna kind of, show you what that property looks like. So that's the back.
That's kind of
Wow,
see the neighbor's light is, obviously.
so you may
Yeah.
not have to have lights.
Thank you.
That's kind of
Yeah,
bright.
it washes the whole building.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
But that's flashing
This one obviously can go in here.
into the residents, so they're probably gonna want to.
It's in brackets.
And then that means they're gonna probably change them, like Justin's saying, they're gonna have to shield theirs, but then you won't have sufficient light.
What's Mike was just saying, he was saying, you were saying put the poles up, right?
Yeah, we'd like to put the poles in, I mean, he's got them on the plan.
Oh, you're gonna install it.
Oh, it's
We wouldn't put the light on, in other words, we don't.
They'll be there,
Unless one more
they
light,
just,
we do it.
the timer will be off for now.
Well, the light's just gonna get old and probably outdated, so what we would do is just put the pole there, no fixture, because somebody might break it or whatever too. And if they somehow turn lights off, we can put our own fixture on, I mean, it's there, and then the wall packs would be
I
there as
mean,
well. We
it
can
makes
do the wall.
sense, I just don't know, Karen, maybe you can speak on this. Can we approve a current site plan for property here utilizing someone else's lighting?
The site plan requires that the applicant can just show that there's sufficient lighting for safety, and usually show that through an illumination plan. I mean, it's really up to the planning commission what they'd like to do. If there's something that the applicant can provide with some estimate of what the lighting levels are without having that full lighting on, but with what the neighbor's showing, they can provide that.
Because that's a newer build also, the other property, correct?
Brand new.
Yeah. So my thought would be that our code enforcement would be out there enforcing a change now to meet the current ordinance so that it's not doing what it's doing.
No, you don't want the whole building washed anyway.
Right.
People are gonna they'll have their windows closed permanently. Like, I'm sure their site plan said they weren't gonna have light that shed that whole building.
The first complaint from a resident
Doesn't seem legal, is it?
trigger that.
I mean,
It's not.
There's a site plan.
Encroach on someone else's
Right.
property, like that.
Who enforces it?
Yeah,
What they do after that, submit it in our affair.
yeah,
This is just for the site plan, all right?
Right, we're approving
yeah,
the site plan.
yeah.
So it's up to the commission to decide whether they want to approve
If
this?
the applicant wants to.
Okay.
We would like to just go ahead with the lighting plan that's in the package,
Okay.
and then deal with the neighbor's lighting afterwards.
Okay.
So,
I'd like to make a motion to approve it, as submitted.
I'd like to second that motion.
Okay. All in favor of,
Any other discussion?
This is just for the site plan, right? I mean, we're not talking facade or anything like that yet.
Just a site plan.
Just the site plan. They're still gonna submit on the rest of the building,
We got a lot more to do.
cause I just wanna make you aware that it's gotta at least conform to the neighborhood. when you- That'll be our concern.
Yeah, should be a roll call.
all right, so The motion before us is to approve the site plan for property ID 280802136018, 250 Denby Street. Cindy, you want to do a roll call? on this?
Stegner,
I'm in favor, yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Justin Parker,
Yes.
Bill Parker,
Yes.
Hale,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Grandstaff,
Yes.
Minton,
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Site plan approved.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to where are we? Item 3 now?
Good night.
That's awesome.
Site plan for the Romeo Industrial Park condos.
The applicant has submitted a site plan review for the property located south of 33 Mile Road and west of Powell Road. The applicant is proposing to use the site as an industrial park complex. The site currently contains several existing buildings. The applicant proposes 3 tenant spaces totaling 12,000 square feet in the proposed new building. The plan also indicates other buildings in the future, though those plans for these structures have not been specified. The applicant is proposing to use 5 trees, 2 crabapple trees and 3 red maple trees along the front yard facing 33 Mile Road. Adjacent properties are also industrial, including the Bruce Township property on the other side of 33 Mile Road. The applicant meets all the requirements for the site plan development. There were a few items that I would like the applicant to address at this time. The applicant has provided a trash enclosure on the south side of the building. The enclosure will consist of 6-foot-high masonry wall on 3 sides with a gate. The gate is indicated to consist of chain link fence with simulated wood slats. The applicant will need to confirm that concrete or metal bollards shall be placed between the trash receptacle and the rear of the wall enclosure to the enclosure. Hazardous substances, should one of the tenants who move into this space store any of these hazardous substances, the site plan would need to be, there'd need to be a revision, and the Village of Romeo would have to be aware that these substances are being stored on site. Same thing with equipment. Tenants for these spaces appear to be unknown at this time. So the applicant has not provided information on any equipment such as automatic screw machines, stamping machines, hammers, steam boards or boards, and hot foraging. Should the tenant use such equipment, an applicant understands that these items will have to be addressed in a revised site plan and brought before the Planning Commission. Surface requirements, all parking, vehicle maneuvering or outdoor storage areas shall be paved with asphalt or concrete pavement in accordance with the specifications of the village engineer. Parking and driving areas are indicated to be paved. This review defers to the village engineer to comply with this stipulation. Other than that, I do recommend approval for the site plan.
If I could start first, I do work for the applicant. I possibly will be doing the work at this site. If there's an issue with anyone on this commission, I will abstain from voting, but I will participate in discussion.
Any comments beyond that? Questions?
No questions, no discussion, I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Bill Parker has made a motion to approve. Anyone?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Motion before us is to approve this site plan, whatever the number is. It's Cindy, you wanna do a roll call on this
Sure.
one again?
Stegner,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Bill Parker,
Yes.
Hale,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Grandstaff,
I will say yes with the conditions that were provided by our planner.
okay.
So that we'd have to alter the motion for that then.
I want to make
How
sure.
far did we get in the vote? Did everybody have a vote?
Just Brian Minton, and I didn't call Justin because he's abstaining from that, is that correct?
If anyone has an issue with it, I mean,
Okay,
I'll just abstain.
I mean, it's already gonna pass.
There's no worry. Yeah.
I'm a yes.
I just didn't get to Brian.
Yes.
Okay, do we wanna alter that motion then? I mean, is it necessary? What do you think?
Some planning commission. The only real site plan concern I had, and it's minor, it's just a requirement of your community, there needs to be bollards at the back of the trash enclosure. So, that's really it, and then if someone is, these spaces, they don't have a tenant, so you don't know maybe necessarily who's going to be there, but if there's hazardous equipment or the heavy-duty equipment that's stipulated in the ordinance that needs review, those are the two things, so that would just be based upon if the tenant fills those spaces with those hazardous materials or, the equipment listed in the zoning ordinance, they would have to come back for planning commission approval for those.
Craig, did you catch that?
I'm trying.
Okay, what she's saying is if your tenants have hazardous materials or certain types of equipment, you do understand that they would have to come back before the planning commission
Right.
because of our existing zoning ordinances.
Right. I don't
But-
believe any of our tenants meet that, of all of our tenants, none of them.
But
meet
she's
that.
saying in case they do,
Right.
we wanna make sure that you do understand
Right.
that you have to come back here with the hazardous materials and, the stamping machines or whatever it was. And he said he understood that.
What was, you said the back of the dumpster corral,
Yeah, there needs to just be bollards.
ball at the back?
Okay.
So when the truckers back into it,
Right.
they wreck their truck instead of your trash container.
Okay.
All right, so do we wanna let that vote stand or revise it?
I'd keep it official and just
I think,
alter the motion
Ma-
and,
Alter the motion.
Would you like to alter your motion, Mr. Parker?
Yes,
Can I,
as
I will re-
appropriately suggested.
I will remain with my second then.
Okay.
all right,
Does
so,
anybody want to change their vote?
Does anyone wanna change their vote? Would be the next.
no, so the motion before us is now, the new motion is to approve the site plan with the proviso that that the owner install, what is it, bollards?
ballards? Ballards?
Ballards, those, yeah, they're like the trash cans and.
4-foot tall concrete.
Yeah, R2D2
Or
kind
metal.
of things with the
Steel.
concrete,
Narrow.
okay. Where was I? All right, all right, so,
And he's acknowledged that he's gotta come back before us if the
there's
concerns
hazardous
that
material.
the planner has indicated would require him to come back, and he says he's aware of that, so.
so that motion has been made and seconded, so roll call
can I
again.
make one comment?
Okay,
All right, so the dumpster says 2 6-foot-high chain link gates with vinyl simulated wood slats. The ordinance says chain link fencing with view obscuring slats or wooden fencing shall not be considered to be suitable screening materials.
I believe that's for the gate, but the other three
Yeah.
sides are
Okay,
masonry.
so it's just the gate that needs to be,
I think the gate's fine. You couldn't have the chain link fence and with slats as your three-sided enclosure.
okay,
So the gate's okay.
okay.
so the motion with provision has been made and seconded. Cindy, roll call.
Stegner,
Yes?
Webb,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes,
Bill Parker,
Yes.
Hale,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Grandstaff,
Yes.
Minton,
Yes.
Motion passes. Site plan approved.
I'm abstaining, yes.
Okay.
congratulations, Ray.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray. Item 5,
Thank you.
You as well.
approval of the 2023-24 calendar. When are we getting in now? Okay.
I believe the only one that's starred, you know, that has a little asterisk is December 14. That's just not the first Thursday in December.
All right, I'll make a motion, we approve the calendar.
I'll second.
Who second? Okay.
Minton?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. That one was easy, okay. Elections, time to elect new people or old people, whatever. New old people? New old people, old people. We need, do you have something? Oh, okay, all right. So, currently, we don't have a secretary. So-
Nolan, yeah, Nolan was our secretary.
Yes, you got voted. Would somebody like to be a secretary? Come on, don't look away like, I gotta go. That's funny. Right, they don't really do that.
No.
She does all the stuff.
Okay.
It's prestigious.
All right.
Get some letters behind my name.
Yeah, right. We get to be great. All right,
Is that you, Stegner, that's made a motion to?
yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, okay.
Denise Fowler, secretary.
Congratulations. Anyway, all right, so, you got, anybody want to keep me as chairman? I mean, I can,
Can we just vote on the slate?
yeah, if you want to.
Do you want to stay as vice?
Sure.
Perfect. Make a motion to keep the current seats.
All- Okay, Mr. Webb seconded.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so, and Cindy will remain planning and zoning administrator, right?
Yes.
I think we're not voting on it, but.
Is that a motion by the planning, or is that a motion by council?
I think that's council.
I don't know.
Good question.
I believe she's appointed by the president.
Yeah, I think she's,
Yeah,
So maybe now it has to go before them, before you.
yeah.
I think it was already approved, wasn't it?
Aren't you the only one that voted?
Like when they voted on the, slates for the commission.
all right, at this point, I will ask for unanimous approval to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
That's it.